All right, let's jump right in. For years, digital assets have kind of felt like their own separate world, a lot of speculation. But 2026 is the year that all starts to change. This is when the digital and the physical worlds finally start to connect, moving crypto way beyond just trading and into the real, tangible stuff that actually powers our lives. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. When a behemoth like Bank of America puts out a statement like this, you know something huge is happening. This isn't just an idea on a whiteboard anymore. The biggest names in finance are actually building this future. So the bottom line is, this convergence is the real deal and it's happening right now. But to really get what's happening in 2026, you've got to look at how the dominoes were set up in 2025. It was a massive year. You had the US passing the Genius Act, basically giving a huge green light to innovation. You had Swift, the absolute backbone of global banking, announcing it's getting into blockchain. And then Europe finalized Mika, its massive rulebook for crypto. Those three things set the stage for everything. Okay, so with that stage set, let's dive into the first massive trend that this unleashed. We're talking about blockchain literally breaking out of the purely digital world and getting into the business of building physical, real world things. And the big idea here is something called DePIN. That stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. So what is that? To put it simply, it's a way to use crypto tokens to pay regular people and businesses to build and run things in the real world. Seriously, think of it like crowdfunding a 5G network or even a local power grid. And this is where it gets really interesting. When you see the old way versus the new way side by side, I mean, it is night and day. The old model, it's all centralized, costs a fortune, and usually ends up as a monopoly. The DePIN model just flips that whole script. It's a shared ecosystem where, and I love this quote from the source, anyone can deploy hotspots, anyone can earn money. That's a total game changer. So what does this actually look like in the wild? Let's take Helium Mobile. They are going up against the giant telecom companies by building a 5G network that's actually owned by its users. So instead of one giant corporation building every single cell tower, Helium pays people like you and me to set up our own little hotspots. It's a model that could totally shake up the industry and maybe even lead to cheaper phone plans. And get this isn't some tiny little project. By the end of 2025, Helium Mobile already had over 500,000 paying users. That's 540,000 people. It just goes to show you that DePIN isn't a theory. It can achieve real world scale and take on the big guys. And it's not just your phone plan. This same idea is hitting other massive industries. Take the energy sector. There's a company called Fuse Energy, and they're doing the exact same thing but for renewable energy, connecting everything from solar panels to EV chargers. And again, the numbers are just wow. Fuse is already pulling in $300 million in annual revenue from 150,000 customers. Think about what that really means. It's not just about you buying power anymore. You could be selling the extra solar power from your roof directly to your neighbor. DePIN isn't just a cool idea. It's already a very profitable business. Okay, so we've got this new physical layer being built. What do you build on top of that? Well, you build a whole new economy. And that brings us to part 2. The economy gets an upgrade. And right at the heart of this new economy, stablecoins. They have absolutely exploded, surging past a $300 billion market value. You have to think of them as the new plumbing of the financial world, the pipes that connect old school finance with DeFi and power pretty much everything. Then, on top of that money layer, you get something really cool, SocialFi, or social finance. This is a complete game changer for anyone who creates content online. Forget the old model where the platform owns everything. Now creators can issue their own tokens, their fans can literally invest directly in them, and even get a say in how the community grows. It's a whole new world where being a fan actually means having ownership. Alright, now let's push this even further into the future. Just imagine for a second, what if your finances just ran themselves? Your payments, your investments, your savings, all of it on autopilot. Well, that's the big idea behind what everyone's calling the agentic economy. This is where AI and blockchain finally collide. We're talking about AI agents connected to your accounts, automatically finding the best interest rates for you, rebounds in your portfolio, all happening 24/7 with basically zero input needed from you. We're going from programmable money to, well, programmable intelligence. Now, obviously, for any of this to happen at a huge scale, you need rules, you need regulation. And that brings us to part 3. But here's the thing. Instead of being a roadblock, these new rules are actually a sign that this whole industry is finally growing up and getting integrated into the real financial system. And in 2026, we're really seeing two big approaches take shape. You've got the US with its Genius Act, which is all about let's innovate, let's lead, let's make America the crypto capital. Then you have Europe with MiCA, which is more about, okay, let's build a solid, safe, and clear framework for everybody. They have different philosophies, right? But the end result is the same: clarity. And that clarity is exactly what big institutions were waiting for to jump in. Okay, so let's put it all together. We've got the new infrastructure, the new economy, and the new rules all converging at the same time. So, what are the key numbers you should be watching in 2026? Let's run through the big ones. First up, DeFi. The total amount of money locked in these systems is projected to blast past $300 billion. This isn't a niche playground anymore. This is becoming a fundamental pillar of the global capital markets. Then you have prediction markets. This is wild. They're on track to hit over $100 billion in annual trading volume. Think about that. They're turning global uncertainty, elections, economic data, you name it, into a completely new tradable asset class. But this next one, this might be the biggest of all. The value of tokenized real-world assets is expected to skyrocket to $500 billion. And this isn't crypto assets we're talking about. This is taking real things like corporate bonds and private credit and putting them on a blockchain to make everything faster, cheaper, and more efficient. So finally, who's actually holding this stuff? Well, take a look at the corporate and institutional treasuries. Yeah, Bitcoin is still king at 77%, no surprise there. But look closer. You've got Ethereum and Solana making up almost 20% combined. The big money isn't just buying Bitcoin anymore. They're building real, diversified digital asset portfolios. Which brings us to the big final question. Everything we're seeing points to this great convergence, a moment where the digital and physical economies are truly becoming one. The technology is here, the infrastructure is being built, the rules are getting clearer. The real question for 2026 and beyond is our old financial system actually ready for an upgrade this big?